Welcome to the Top Shelf Literary Editions. This is where I pull a book off my shelf and discuss it with you, give you a short synopsis, a brief review if I've seen it, and a reason why I purchased the book. My name is Ernest Whiteman III. I am a Northern Ramapo filmmaker, educator, artist, and media educator. And today's book we're talking about, if I can get it off the shelf here, I'm actually pulling this off the shelf. African Samurai by Thomas Lockley and Geoffrey Gilard. And this is a very interesting book. As you can probably, and I've probably mentioned before, I'm very interested in books of East Asian philosophy, things like the Hagakure, the Art of War, Book of the Five Rings, things like that. Mainly because I want to delve into the philosophies of martial arts, but without hanging it on the stereotypes. And we'll talk about the Hagakure in those books in later editions. But this one was the story of Yasuke, the legendary black warrior of feudal Japan. And Yasuke was a retainer of Oda Nobunaga, I believe. I want to get this right. But it sort of counterbalances the typical narrative of the samurai. One, that he was an African warrior that was sold to the church and was used as sort of like a prop to show that they've conquered all these nations. And when they went to Japan, Nobunaga became interested in him because one of his height and the stories he heard of him as a warrior, and the church just sort of gave him as a gift. And rather than keep him as like a slave or a servant, he actually made him a retainer, gave him the status of a samurai, which meant that he suddenly came into land ownership as well. And he's been mentioned a couple of times in biographies and histories, so there's very little information about Yasuke. And unfortunately, this book, for me, really doesn't really get into it. It's written more like historical fiction because there is so little information about Yasuke. All that they know is that he was at certain battles, and the story of them trying to scrub his skin because they thought they just put covered him in black ash, and they wanted to show that, you know, he was a true black-skinned person. This is an advanced copy, that's why it's not a hardback. It has typos in it, but my partner works at a bookstore and they're able to keep these, so I got an advanced look at it. I hope they improve the typos, and a lot of it is speculation, and the last, I think, part of the book is just the depictions of Yasuke in popular media and the influences like Afro Samurai and his appearance in a lot of the video games that pop up around samurai warriors. It's a good place to start. It's not as informative as I would like it to be. What I found more interesting, though, was all the political intrigue of how some of Nobunaga's own Daimyo sort of turned against him, and how that trade of power happened within a really quick time, and that Yasuke was actually there for the death of Obo Nobunaga and his son. And it's a pretty good, it's a good read. It's not as informative as I would like it to be. And they were adapting this into a film starring Chadwick Boseman, but unfortunately he has passed since. And I hope they still go through with the film, because I think, despite the lean bones on this book, I think it's a fascinating story. It sort of undercuts this stowed representation of samurai in media. Yeah, my battery died, so I'm going to finish out speaking about this. It is a good place to start when talking about Joski. Despite its bare bones narrative, it is a great depiction, and it's a very interesting story, and it sort of undercuts the styled representation of samurai that I would continually to find. Despite my admiration for the samurai, I feel there are too reverently depicted, and people place too much emphasis on their reverence for samurai rather than what the samurai actually were. And that's why I do love the films of Kurosawa, because he doesn't play that game of over-reverence for the samurai. So African Samurai by Thomas Lockley and Geoffrey Gilard. If you find it hardback, it's a great place to start. So check it out. And thanks for joining me. I'll catch you next time.